think so. Hello, good evening. Well, good evening from my neck of the woods. It always annoys me when I get on here and my clothes aren't scented, so just forgive me. And it's always back to front on here. There's something that's not lining up properly. Anyway, I don't really know what it is. However, not important. Okay, as long as I'm kind of centered in here visually, I'm not so distracted. But welcome, and I really want to say welcome to May, even though it's the 5th, and the 5th of May to me, the energy before we got to this day was way bigger than it's kind of felt. I really have felt that this 5th of May was going to be, well, it is expansive, but I really felt it was going to be more kind of explosive than it is. It's exciting to me. May feels like it's in two halves, and I don't know yet exactly what that means, but it just really feels clear to me that we're going to have some energies in the first half of May and then different energies in the second half of May. And so my notes from the beginning of May, so it's the 5th here, it's probably the 5th wherever any and all of you are. So for me, feeling a sense of tiredness, it's hard to explain. It's a new kind of tiredness. It's more perhaps a mental tiredness rather than a physical tiredness. Although, in saying that, the honest truth is that my legs are screaming from an exercise class I did on Saturday. I have a really fit and very toned legs, and they are screaming from all the exercises we did. So that's a separate thing to Ascension, but we're very much in the feels as in the feelings, but the feels of Ascension through our body in the physical this month showing up very strongly, and everything, in my view, is going to show up in the physical. So hello, Charlotte, and hello, Carolyn, and welcome. Yeah, so on the 1st of May, I wrote, although fresh and new, we are feeling, hello, Debbie, the residual impact of April today. So I really felt that we had a lot of energetics in the last 3 days of April. We had some kind of energetic upgrade, and it's like we were feeling the residual of that. We didn't come into fresh and new May energies on the 1st of May. It's like feeling the leftovers, if you like. And I wrote in here, this is likely showing in one of two ways, or possibly both, some unease in the spine, or as it accommodates the upgrades. Because in the last part of April, we were receiving a lot of upgrades through our spine. This DNA impact, this get with the program, get up to the 5th dimensional aspects, get up to the preparation of the 12 strands of DNA and whatever sort of formation and readiness you are. That's how it showed up. Some unease in the spine as it was accommodating those, and some leftover energy in the head as well. I woke up personally with a fuzzy electrical energy in my skull, which stayed around for a good part of the morning. But also I had this sense of the absolute. So the absolute being like the wholeness, the completeness, all of that, us coming into the absolute, that we are heading to something good, to something great, to something solid and something tangible. That was the energy for me in the very first part of the morning on the 1st of May. And sort of definitely, yeah, it was like I wrote here, definitely an oxymoron to the notion that we are becoming less dense and more light filled. But it's like energetically, we're in this deeper knowing, this deeper trust, this absolute knowing that we are moving into something amazing and higher. But it's like, we've got this. We're sitting there. We know it. There's no other way that this is happening. It's done. It's a done deal, and we're in the assimilation of it. But also becoming less dense, more light filled. Now, I believe, we're having Merkaba upgrades and respins and realignment and all of those good things. I don't believe we are, well, I mean, ultimately we are, but in this part of the story, we are becoming less dense and more light, but we are not turning into light. And this really lovely personal thing happened to me, which will be an indication of things that happened for many of you as well. It's just that I am sometimes the message bearer, the witness of, or the observer of the visual. And I have a personal connection to the family of Christ. My grandmother Anna, who is, she is one of the ascended masters, the Kohan of the first ray, and grandmother Anna is the mother of Mother Mary, the grandmother of Yeshua, and she, I wasn't even like, she just came into my field, and she did this. She handed me a rose and she gave me a kiss on the cheek, and I kind of inquired, "What is that about?" And she said, "You have graduated back to self." So I imagine that a lot of you have had that kind of experience during this first part of May, of feeling that you've really come home to yourself, that you've become aligned and balanced and centered and home to self. So, that was just a sort of unusual, quirky thing that showed up that to me was a very good confirmation of what we were about. Um, I also got that it was time for us to order up our highest timelines. So call it in. I call in my mighty I am presence to assist me in bringing in my highest timeline at this moment, calling it into your field and calling in your own truth. I am becoming my own authentic self, the truest version of me, the highest alignment with truth and clarity. And then ask to be shown, what do I need to do to come into that absolute highest alignment? Are there any blocks here that are holding me back from that? And let them show up and show me the solutions, show me the steps, give me the clarity to see what it is that I need to do to become for that, and to be in the space of I already am all that I am, or I already have everything that I need, want, and desire. And maybe mantras around things like everything is always working out for me. I'm aligned with the abundant flow of the universe. I'm effortless in my receipt of all that I require. And everything that is my birthright here as a being on the planet. Any of that kind of thing is good timing for right now. Um, oh, I just wrote a random note to myself here that May the 12th is Mother's Day. So if you live in New Zealand and you weren't up with the play on that, I'm often not up with the play on that. But usually somebody reminds me. So on the second, I found the energies whirring and whirling, especially around the head, feeling a lot of impact in and around the ears, and the message coming that a lot of people were receiving clear audience upgrades. So we definitely had a day, I can't remember which, but I guess I've either spoken it already or it's in my notes, but we definitely had a head day that was related to clairvoyance, but this day showed up as related to clear audience. Many will be experiencing a variety of body physical experiences, but the common ones are likely to include head, eyes, ears, and spine, maybe ears ringing and echoing, these continuing upgrades in the brain, in the heart, and maybe cold in the body. So some people feeling cold in the body, some people feeling hot in the body, maybe vacillating, oscillating between the two. Um, Anxiety, a lot of people feeling anxiety. I want to tell you that's your energetic body saying, "Ooh, oh, I don't know this. I'm not used to this. My little inner child is going, hold on a moment. I don't know what's going on. I feel a bit scared. So just be reassuring with that. We've been feeling these energies, these frequencies that are brand spanking new to us, to our psyche, to our energetic. Hello, Helen. Hi, heart activations, Carolyn. True divine love coming in. Pink rose quartz energy. Yeah. Yes, it's rather beautiful, isn't it? And hello, Jason. Hi. Yes, yes, yes. And the masculine really in the feels of that too. And I'll speak to that in a moment. Yeah. Um, oh, right. This was the other thing I wrote in here. So see if you felt like this. Bliss and dread, or fear, or like no figs. Don't give a toss. Um, this new energy continuing to impact, but really feeling a bit kind of detached from it, a bit like, well, yeah, it's coming in and I'm a bit over all of this. I don't really give a toss. I'm not going to get caught up with it. It'll just be what it is. That kind of energy was sitting in the collective. So much change to come. And this continuing impact. So a point really I feel for the first waivers of light workers of like, God's truth, isn't this enough? Haven't we held the door open for this for long enough? Aren't we done? Can't someone else do it? Isn't it time it rolled over into a bit of ease? Isn't it time for us to be in our retreat, lying on our backs under the sun, having a snooze under the tree? That kind of feeling. It's like a real stretch to this finish line. And I think that a lot of light workers are feeling like that. Oh, isn't this over yet? Hi, hi, hi. Um, oh, they felt cold. Yeah, so thank you, Helen. Um, yeah, hi, Jason. Yeah, so it's this to me. Well, to me, each will be in their own kind of orientation with the heat and with the cold. So for some people, I believe the cold comes in as a new energy and as transmutation. And for some people, that comes in as heat. So for some people, they do it in the opposite way. This transmigration, this transmutation can come in as heat, and the cold can be like the after effect of it. You will figure it out for you, but the cold for me, that feels like a new energy coming in. And I felt like in May we've had these brand spanking new body on alert. This is like, what the heck is this? I don't know this. You reassure me that this is right. It feels like the solar plexus was having a bit of a tantrum. Um, and Outdoors Girl saying definitely felt it all over today, like in some limbo. Yeah, so I was saying to somebody the other day that it it's become really obvious to me that it would be crazy. It would be the orchestration, the divine orchestration would be crazy if all of us went through the exact same symptoms in the same rotation at the same time, because then who's holding space for the other? So it's like one day you might be holding the veil open and I'm feeling my way through, and another day I might be holding the veil open as you find your way through, me holding space for you, you holding space for someone else, etc. It's like we're holding one another through this massive change. And that it's not a it's I don't think it's a song. I think what came is that sorry, I should have looked it up, but it's it, hold on, I will look it up and tell you. It's that song. I think it's Chain, though. I think it's Chain, Chain, Chain. Chain of Fools, Aretha Franklin. That's the song that came, but with the word change. And a changing, noisy month of May. That's the other thing I wrote. So even though it may not be actually physically, audibly noisy. That's how May showed up to me ages ago. It was going to be clanging, it was going to be noisy, it was going to be a cacophony, it was going to be the equivalent of the pots and pans being banged by the people of France. The whole world was going to have that kind of experience during May, because it's, yeah, a changing, noisy month is what I wrote. Um, as we as we feel that the month is hijacked by change. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, the way that these things come in. And I also want to say the feminine aspects of self vacillate this month, like the Buddha, still at peace, blissed, sitting in contemplation on the top of the hill, in alignment, in higher consciousness, balanced within our own masculine holding our own feminine, in the void, in deep knowing and trust. It's that kind of notion. We're in that, or we will be in that, or we will spend time in that this month. To being on a wobble. That's the other thing that's going to happen, as more of the old leaves us, energetically leaves us. So this will happen on the micro and the macro as well. In this month, so much change we're going to observe. I want to suggest to you that the place to sit is on the top of the hill as the Buddha, observing what is going on and being slightly removed from it. Finding balance and seeking peace is what came. And that the masculine, and so this is the masculine aspect of us as well. So I get that the masculine, anyway, I'll say it now because I don't know if I've written it, but the masculine I get is doing this. They're doing a brain flip. So the masculine is coming into more of their feminine brain. So more of their creative brain, the right brain, they're shifting. They're having what would you call it? They're having a movement from the left brain, the logical brain, to the right brain, the creative brain. And that will be very uncomfortable for a lot of people, not just the masculine, but people who are kind of deeply impatient in their masculine way of being, and also in the heart. So this softness in the heart, this opening of the heart, this coming into love in the heart. And then the shift, so it's like the shift from left to right brain. And then the shift, the descension into the heart and into the higher heart, and that being very widening, opening, softening, and then this connection between the higher heart, mission, purpose, all of that really beginning to, and I want to say it will have a big impact, drive the masculine to make decisions from a different place. So, if you think about the impact of that as a collective, that means as a collective, so this will be the divine feminine and the divine masculine tipping into the collective of humanity. It's hard to sort of define it and cut it off in various places. So just forgive me, just see it as a weaving, really. But this is a big movement into the heart that we're going to go through as humanity, I feel, during this month. So a big shift through into being driven by the right brain, by the feminine, by the feminine heart, the heart-based decision, and driven from the higher heart, which links into mission and purpose. And so we are going to witness this in our world. So things that don't belong in the old, in the logical, in the patriarchal way that our world has been built, structured, and run, they are going to start to collapse in a very physical way. And we here will all know that that was coming. It still may be a bit in our face and a bit confrontational, but for a lot of people, it will be new, and it will create some unease, some discomfort, some insecurities for people. People will feel wobbly. That may bring up uncertainty. That may bring up anger. So we're really in that time, I want to say, where this vigilance of where you go and what you do, and that's what I said to my mum yesterday. I said it's a really important month to tune into self, to ask, okay, am I going there? Yes. Am I going there today? Okay, it doesn't quite feel right. So then don't do it, because this uncertainty is going to create some situations and we don't want to be caught up in them. So it's like being the Buddha sitting on top of the hill, watching what's going on below. And the other beautiful analogy came was this: imagine going to a hill that's near where you are, a local hill or a local mountain, and you're there at dusk and you're sitting on the top and you're watching the light begin to leave, and you're watching the street lights turn on, and you're watching the house lights turn on. And this is a really lovely overview, an overview imagery for me, because this is humanity waking up. And can't you feel that in your emotional body? I can. I feel very moved by it. So this is going to be, where there's been this sort of dotted awakening, and where some of us have been awake for a long time. This is going to be like that, watching the lights come on. And so imagine that. Imagine that, most of the people on your street are suddenly having this awakening, and what that would feel like, and how unsure, and what that might create for them. So we can, just be a little bit removed and hold space, because we can hold space without having to be with them physically. We can be holding space in the energetic. Oh, you've got wild thunderstorms in Texas. Debbie's saying disconnected from everything, stuck in all the lower energy. So Debbie, it's a really good and easy time to just acknowledge those and let them go. That's the old. I'm letting go of the old, all of the old that holds me stuck in lower. I'm letting it go. Everything that doesn't serve me, I'm leaving it out. It can leave me now. Thank you, higher self. Let's orchestrate that to go and to move into the past, to be dissolved. Yeah, so that Chain of Fools, Aretha Franklin. Change, 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 or chain, chain, chain. But I knew it was that song, Chain, 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 but I was hearing it as change, change, change. So if you don't know that song, you could look that up. So the month hijacked by change, the feminine vacillating from being like the Buddha, and then this movement into the void and this deep trust, being on a wobble, finding balance. That's all of us, but just be aware that we might be better with it than some others, because they might not be in the practice of it. So we are learning to embody ourselves in a bigger way, to step up into our empowerment. And we're allowing and embracing our own feminine flow, and our own emotional body. And that's what the masculine are doing as well. So may you ride the whirlwind of change like a pro surfer, is what I wrote. Think of what you do best and approach May with that attitude, with that level of confidence, with which you do this whole entrance through May, is to take that confidence. Think about what is it that you are adept at, that you're an expert at. There'll be something. Everybody is an expert at something, and you take the level of confidence and wherewithal and knowing that you do that, and you just apply that sort of energy really to this month. You have been in training for May for at least since November of last year, is what came through. And some of you for years, and some of you for decades. So don't, even though you might feel this is uncertain, that you don't know this, you've been in training for it. It's like training for a marathon where you live and then having to go and do the marathon in another place. You negotiate or you navigate the terrain, you check out the terrain, and then you try and find terrain close to you that will be very similar to the terrain that you're going to run on the marathon. And so you can see your life as, even though you might not have ever done this, you've been building muscle for this your entire life. Yeah, and I want to say to you, actually, oh, yes, you were born for this. You were born for this, and you came here for this. And most of you have already ascended at another time. So call on the memory banks for that. Remind yourself. Remember, remember, we have ascended before. Now, we haven't ascended in this way before, because no one ever has, that's my information, no one has ever ascended in the body, taking the body with us, this movement through while staying in the body, this dimensional shift while being in the body, this cellular upgrade while being in the body. It hasn't been done before, but we have ascended before. So we do have the cellular memory of aspects of what we are doing. Yeah, and I wrote here, there's nothing that stands in the way of the connections that I wish to have in the future. That all is open, all is flowing, all is in divine perfection. Oh, and then I wrote that poem that you can read about surfing. You'll know I used to be a surfer, but that was the metaphor that came. And then also there's a song called Changes by David Bowie, which is about metamorphosis. So that was another song that came. Yeah, I might read this. How to ride the May wave. Stay in the sweet spot. So if you've never surfed, the sweet spot is the part of the wave that has this consistent, quick speed where you can sit in the middle and ride, and you can do that when you're body surfing as well. So it's like the center, the smooth. You're not moving up and down the face of the wave. You're right in the zone with it. Leave your tricks and fancy maneuvers in the back for now. Just do the basics and do them well. This is how to move through May, everyone. Stay in the center of your board. Keep your focus on where you are going and maintain balance. Feel the energy of nature around you and under you. You are both supported, energized, and exhilarated by being connected to nature. Very important for us to have that symbiotic connection and relationship to nature. Master the basics: breathing, grounding, being centered and connected to self, to Gaia. Be well hydrated. Focus on where you are heading. Cut all the cords, the tethers, the ropes, the leg ropes. Anything that holds you down, or in the old, or in the toxic, anything that weighs you down. Be in connection to the bliss. They're sitting there. Those bliss codes are in this energy. So just find them, feel into them, pull them in, feel the joy. It sits there. This month also brings a big energy of freedom, of connection, and of unity. So there's quite a lot of energy that's around this month. Let go of fear, of doubt, of worry, of regret, of darkness, and see those moving past you into the back of the wave, the part of the wave that's behind you. Look ahead in the wave, in the ride. See the light, feel the connection to self, to nature, to others. Feel the love and the unity that comes of being at one with the water molecule, with the wave, with the ocean. Feel the power of truth and authenticity as it comes. It's coming into your being as you inhale that air, that soul air, and cast your face to the sun. As you complete this ride, feeling that, feeling the amazement of that, the exhilaration of that. The wave has run out, you've popped down on your board, you've lay on your belly, and you're riding this little wave on your belly into the shore. Feel the peace with that, the satisfaction, the unconditional love that you hold for that experience. It's a really beautiful analogy to wrap up your life in. This experience for you with nature, and in your life. And then take that with you, all of that energy, and lay on the beach, in the sun, on your back, dreaming up your new life whilst you're in those feelings of being connected, being conscious, being in flow, of feeling that unconditional love. And those feelings where life is great, love is flowing, you have clarity. All and any blocks are released, and you are in receipt of your best life. A light-filled, love-full life in co-creation of paradise on earth as Eden returns to Gaia. As Gaian, connected so deeply and strongly to this highest timeline and outcome for all. And it is here, right here, in your heart of hearts. So as the old fades and the trauma dissolves and all the old patterns and cycles complete and close out, here is you on the beach, feeling illuminated by the dawn of the new, trusting in the total reveal of your own higher authentic self, truth and soul mission now, and so it is. And then the song came. No, you'll know. I can't think who the artist is, but the song we're talking about an evolution. That was the song that came. And these notes, so this doesn't apply to you, but this applies to those around you. Those who are not yet awakened will experience May as a cacophony. Now, cacophony, I wrote this down, according to the Oxford Language Dictionary. So this cacophony, this idea that May was going to be a cacophony, that came to me right at the beginning of the year, is a harsh, discordant mixture of sounds, a blend of unharmonious sounds. And this links into this whole protest by the French. It's the same thing. So it's so interesting that they're now doing it again, because that's the imagery that came. And when I looked that up, it's called, and excuse my pronunciation, but it's called cacarolazo, or a casserole. And it's a protest by people, or by a group of people, making noise by banging pots and pans and other utensils together. It's a way of showing discontent, to express disapproval against government policies. And the French are out doing that again now, against Macron. And so this was what I was shown as the kind of metaphor for May. So, even though I only really talk about first, second, and third waivers, the fourth wave, there is a fourth wave. And they're kind of like the end that will bundle into the third. And so those third and fourth waivers, they are beginning to awaken. And so this is going to be our interesting experience. This is the unknown for everyone, but we will be the observers of it. And so it's important for us to hold that space, the observer from the top of the hill, because those people are going to awaken this month. That's what I'm showing. And a lot of them may experience dark night of the soul. That's a scary place to be. Many of you will have had it. It's blinking awful. And so it's not that we can't help and have compassion, but do it when you are asked. Don't get in there and um, have your say. Just love them from a distance, hold them with compassion, and be the answer to the query. This I'm showing in this month. This brings our human collective to the grand awakening, the beginning levels of consciousness and light as humanity. And the veil thins further. So, another analogy that came was think that you are standing on a stage and the lights are off, that the lights are on in the audience. The curtains open, the audience is fully lit. So you can see all of the players, all of the audience in your life, all of the players in your life are in that audience. And from there comes this review: who stays, who goes, who is in uncertain territory, who might need extra help, who might need extra love, who might need extra compassion. And we might not know all of the answers to that, but we can remain as the detached observer, holding compassionate space for their process of awakening or leaving. So if you think about, the audience is everyone who isn't consciously aware and awake right now. And we know that some of those, you might not know, but I'm telling you that some of those will leave. So we are likely to have, well, according to what Gaia has told me in the past, 30% leave the planet, 70% will ascend. But of that 30%, that they will leave for a variety of reasons, and it will all have been decided by soul choice. So it doesn't mean that it won't be sad, difficult, uncomfortable, but this is the time that we are in where many souls will leave the planet for their next part. And that part may be returning when we are in the fifth dimension as a planetary body and as a collective of humanity. Or it may be that they leave to go on to other assignments. And it may be that um, when they pass or leave or exit the planet, they will already have an idea about, are they returning to the new? So there will be, let me speak to this a bit. So there will be people who are not well and they're not happy in their bodies, and they may choose to leave at this point. There will be people who came here who decided that at this sort of point in the story that they would leave, that they had done their part. And that part may have been holding density or it may have been holding light. There'll be a variety. There are people who will leave because their mission is complete and they don't need to be here anymore, and they're going on to be somewhere else in another planet doing something else. But every soul will have made their choice, and so this is we're in that time in the physical where we're going to see a lot of death, a lot of souls passing. So awakened ones will now be compelled, really, and it's for the highest as well. It's for the highest good to sit in that detached observer position, to form a higher perspective, to be the detached observer of what chaos may ensue, the energy of change. So the mastery aspect is to stay in balance and alignment while you're viewing that, while you're observing that. So it's your job to stay in alignment, to be centered, and to stay in your balance, irrespective of what is going on around you. Now, that is not necessarily going to be easy, but you wake up in the morning, you bring yourself into center, into alignment, you feel into your heart, you lift yourselves up into that higher energetic vibration. Breathe. And then you might stand up. Maybe you do some kind of exercise. Maybe you just do some kind of soft, gentle movement to come into balance. And then any time during the day when you are knocked off balance, you bring yourself back in, and you'll get better and faster at it. And then there'll become like bigger gaps between the times when you're put on a wobble. So that's the level that you can be practicing your mastery at now. I am centered, aligned. You could use this as your invocation for this month. I am centered, aligned, and balanced, irrespective of what is going on, and I am able to observe from a detached, higher perspective. So at the beginning of the month, I wrote, we have a 5-5 portal that we have today on the 5th, another one on the 14th of the month, and another one on the 23rd. They will be significant days of explosive potentials for change and shake-up, is what I wrote. So we are really moving to this place during this month where it's hard to believe we're going to be experiencing a lot of the lower consciousness, the lower mind, the notions of the old in that regard are going to become redundant. They're going to leave. They're not going to fit in our world anymore. And it will be, exit stage left. Our brain is really coming into higher functionality through the right brain and moving, everybody moving with it's not that the left brain is going, it's that we will use the left brain for, if you like, our logical analysis, but our right brain will be what does the what would you call it? The summary, the decision, the movement, the action, the outcomes. Yeah, so we're just coming into that greater balance, that greater wholeness through the left-right aspect. Yesterday, there's a song written by Rose Petty, who is Māori kaumātua. She's passed now, but she wrote this song, which I have sung lots of times, and I don't know, I always have to rack my brain for the words, but I'll just sing the first line. Peace, peace, peace to the universe. Peace, peace, peace to the universe. So that's the song that came to my awareness yesterday morning. And then today, this idea of our coming into the dusk to awaken consciousness. It's like we've gone through the sort of process of a day since the beginning of the month. And yeah, just back to that place of sitting on the top of the hill, irrespective of what has gone on, of what we've witnessed and observed, we bring ourselves back. At the end of the day, in the dusk, sitting on the top of the hill, observing the lights come on, street lights and the house lights, a reminder that we're in this time where humanity is awakening, coming into consciousness, witnessing the awakening. It's big, it's massive numbers. It's enough to create. So this will give you an idea about what the energy might feel like. It's enough, this is what came this morning, it's enough to create friction. Friction as awareness of living under the veil, in the receipt, in the swallowing of the lies becomes apparent. So you might remember when you awakened that you got cranky, cross, peeved, when you discovered that you had lived your life believing particular things that weren't so. And imagine you were softened by the fact that The hard edges of the old world held you, right? You felt out of place. You felt weird, but that was happening around you and within you. And so you felt detached, probably separated, probably like you didn't fit, probably totally disconnected from your old world, probably wondering what the hell you're going to do. How can you possibly fit? So just remember back to whatever that was, whatever your experience was in that awakening, irrespective of the physical things that may have been happening for you, the pain in your body, the pain in your head, in your eyes, in your spine, the unwellness in the gut, the wanting to curl up into, like a child because of the pain. And think about that happening on a large scale and the energy of that. So that is what we are like being, if you like, yeah, I guess so. The grandmothers of, the grandfathers of, we're holding that while the children awaken. We're witnessing it, these massive numbers of people awakening. It's a hallelujah moment. And so sit in the space of that. So it's this idea that in many ways, we're watching people having to face that their lives have been a lie, that they've been fooled. They might feel like they've been made a fool of. They might feel totally sad. They might get morose. They might get depressed. They could get chronically depressed. We have to be aware of that, aware of sitting in the space of, yeah, I get it. I know it's really hard. It's really challenging, but I'm here. I can help you. I can help you to get through this. You don't have to do it all in one big go. You can do it a little bit at a time. So I'm really showing very clearly by God, if you like, that many people will awaken in different ways. It's a little bit like someone might awaken by seeing the lies of the, let's say, the so-called democratic election process, of seeing that that's bought, corrupted. That some people may awaken by viewing the whole aspect of health and how the health system has really been designed to create sickness, unwellness. But some people might awaken through the whole vaccination experience, that some people might awaken through what has been happening in the area of trafficking, or in the sale of children, or in the underground tunnels and the dumbs and the sex trafficking and the sex abuse. So that's a whole big ball of stuff and information that's very challenging and confrontational. Some people will awaken, to the idea that we've been fed poisoned food, that our land has been poisoned, that there's this intrusion into being able to live happily side by side with nature. That some people will awaken in the recognition that war is orchestrated. The war is orchestrated as a way to kill off people and a way to create income loop through the whole engineering sector of machinery and weaponry. That's enough, really, isn't it? There'll be others as well, but I feel enough having processed that through my body as I've spoken it. In many of the ways, but not all will see all of the ways at once. And oh my God, isn't that a blessing? We didn't necessarily find it all out at once, did we? And if we did, I bet it was overwhelming. So not all will see all of the ways at once, and this may be their saving grace. Don't be the person who spoils that. Don't. I'm finger pointing at you, but I just want to say to you, don't be the know-all. Don't be the one who, when they say, "Oh my God, did you know blah blah blah?" You go, "Mm-hmm, yep," and blah, da, 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 da. Don't be that one. Don't just be the, yeah, yep. It's really sad, isn't it? It's a bitter pill to swallow. Be the person who sits beside them with empathy and compassion. Don't be the person who gives them the whole book. Just be in conversation about the part of the book that they're exploring. The receipt, the swallowing of these lies is going to become very apparent for people, and not all will see all the ways at once. This will be the saving grace. Sorry, I already said that. Don't poke the bear with a stick. Okay. Don't list all the other ways. Just allow those to unfold. There's this month, it's really interesting. It's like this month I'm showing there's this streaming of energy that flips consciousness. It's directly imposed by the up leveling masculine. And so the masculine up leveling through their feminine energies, through the feminine flow, through the emotional body, and through the awakening of the brain and coming into that brain balance. Their brain coming into having a right brain focus, their heart coming into a left flow, an opening, and a higher heart opening. This consciousness expansion where the higher heart mission is driving the boat. So May, I also wrote, has an interesting set of paradoxical qualities to me. It feels like these energies of massive change. It feels like there are more flips in the brain, in the feminine flow, in the higher heart, from mission to purpose. And yet there are these exciting surprises to come. It's full of love this month. It flips things over. It brings us love-filled, flowing energies with surety, with certainty, and yet these exciting surprises to come. So for me, it feels like a very significant change over, transitional month. And that's my overview for May. Oh, that's nice, Carolyn. Joan Armour Trading. Thank you. Yeah, you're still here, Jason, so that's good. We send you lots of love and blessings. Wrap yourself in a big safety bubble. Fiona's saying true. She started finding out in 1980 and still getting new insights. We've got this though, people. We need things that bring us together rather than divide. Perfect. Yes, thank you. And Carolyn is saying that feels very right. Flipping everything back again. Yeah, so everything's been turned, hasn't it? And that is the interesting thing that Gaia said, I don't know when, quite a few months ago. She said everything will be turned upside down and inside out. And this is what we're kind of in. I want to say we're in the middle of that. So whether May is the middle part of it, I don't know, but it feels to me like May, where it's very much landing here in this this physical turning inside out, upside down, and a lot of things are going to be shown very clearly to us in the physical, and this is what we're witnessing is the awakening of humanity in the physical. And I feel that on some level, in some way, we're going to have ascension. Now we know, you and I know, that ascension takes place in a variety of ways. We can have an individual ascension that becomes a group collective, that becomes a bigger collective, that becomes the collective of humanity, that becomes the planet. We will all ascend in that way ultimately, but it doesn't stop us having sort of micro ascension experiences, this moving up the spiral into the higher consciousness, into this fifth dimensional experience, and the fifth dimensional experience sort of landing in our physical expression. Carolyn's saying it's been a big part of our role to flip everything. Thank you. And thank you for your work, and thank you to all of you who are here. Thanks for joining me, and thank you for the work that you do. And I just want to really encourage you to sit in that space of acknowledging self. Remember to come back to center, to be the Buddha on the top of the hill, watching the lights come on. And I'll see you again next time. Much love to you. Oh, and if you are still considering, that's the other thing I wanted to say, yes, is that it's my sense that and I feel it's the second half, that in the second half we come into greater flow, we come into greater abundance. So if it is that you're one of the people who wants to come on the dolphin trip, to be in the experience of expectation of that, to be using affirmations around that, I am open to receiving all of the abundance and flow that I need in order to go to Bimini in September. Because it's come up for me in the last few days, the sense. It's only a sense. I haven't gone deeply into it, but it's a strong sense. It's that sense of knowing that, and I feel this is the second half. This is significant in the second half. So we are going to come into greater financial flow and greater financial abundance as individuals, as collectives in our world. So maybe, who knows, but maybe we have a shift over in the into the quantum system this month. I don't know, but there's a strong feeling of that within me. The time is 5:55, Carolyn says. Yay, Wesak full moon in May, very special. Oh, Fiona, you're so good with the pagan dates. I really must get my act together and sort out a pagan calendar. So Wesak, tell me, what does Wesak mean? Craig's saying Daniel Scranton's Arcturian channeling of the May energy said this month is about us, I'm going goosey, surrendering into our abundance. Fantastic. Thank you, Craig. Carolyn's saying I've always been shown when we align, abundance comes. It's here. Oh, there's that symbol again on top of the word. It's here. What? Okay, I'll write. All right. In the chat and see if your word moves up. Yes, ready. I've always been shown when we align, abundance comes. It's here, ready to come. Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? Because that's the other thing I've noticed. It blows me away how those of us who bring through this information, there's so much synchronicity, not just in the notions, the concepts, the constructs, but even in the language. But certainly that's been my feeling. So thank you for sharing Daniel's work, Craig. And thank you, Carolyn. Fiona's saying celebrating birth and enlightenment. Oh, isn't that hilarious? Well, it's not hilarious, but is that not beautiful? That was the imagery of the Buddha on the hill, that it's the birth and enlightenment of the Buddha under the Bodhi tree. In my clinic, I have a leaf from the Bodhi tree that somebody brought to me from their travel to Sri Lanka. So much love to you, Jason. Thank you so much. You take care too. And Carolyn's saying union with DM. Oh, yeah, did I say that as well? It's like we come into this alignment, the masculine are rising up to that. I feel that a lot of unions in the whole twin flame divine counterpart connections, this union, I feel that a lot of that is going to show up in the second half of May as well. So we have a lot to look forward to, and the energies of that. So I want to remind you, the energies of these divine counterpart unions, they create a wave of love that ripples across the world and creates an impact on ascension. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what builds to that, because of course, I'll be back here with you before then. But yeah, this is my sort of overview energy for me. So big hugs, lots of love, and we will speak again soon. Take care. Sit on the hill as the Buddha. Sit next to the Buddha. He's a good energy to be around.